that property we sold last year in August. And after paying off the debt and distributing all the funds, I calculated again, and it was a 3x plus deal overall
Wow.
return wise, including the cash flow. So, yep, that property's gone, but we were able to like make a home run deal. It was like I call it call like a textbook deal because I was able to do forced appreciation by raising the NOI. I was able to try 100% cash out refi, getting on the agency loan from recourse to non-recourse, right? And then we kept it for infinite return, cash and cash return, and we sold it for profit. So I think that was a home run deal.
Welcome to the Peak Profits Podcast, your guide to maximizing returns in passive real estate investing. Hosted by Bryan Morris and Chris Ward of 7 Peak Capital, we dive into conversations with industry experts, sharing insights, strategies, and stories to elevate your investment portfolio. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting out, this podcast is designed to give you the edge for financial freedom. Get ready to unlock new opportunities, discover the secrets of successful investing, and take your passive real estate investments to the next level. Now, let's go reach those peak profits together.
Welcome back to the Peak Profits Podcast. We are excited to be joined today by Yosef Lee. Yosef is a seasoned litigation attorney and a passionate real estate investor with a focus on multifamily assets. As the founder of Y Lifestyle Design and Management, he has built a portfolio of over 1,500 units across 23 multifamily assets, working with a dedicated team to expertly manage every phase of the investment process, from sourcing lucrative deals and conducting thorough due diligence to structuring partnerships and overseeing asset management. Yosef's unique ability to blend legal expertise with real estate acumen has attracted a network of high net worth individuals and professionals eager to invest in multifamily cash flowing opportunities. This has led to the creation of Wild Lifestyle Management and Design, and a firm dedicated to helping investors achieve diversified income streams through strategic real estate investments. Yosef, we are very excited to welcome you on the Peak Profits Podcast, and we're excited to have you on today.
Hi, thank you, Brian and Chris, for having me. That was very nice introduction, and it's I don't know where you got that from, but it's great intro.
Yeah, of course. We're excited to have you on. I know you were one of the first individuals to reach out to me after joining a mastermind back in April of 2022, I believe, April 2023. And we connected over Zoom, and we just hit it off right away. And I could tell instantly that I would learn a lot from you. So I know you've been up to a lot since then. You're still a full-time attorney. So can you just give us a little bit of background about yourself and kind of how you got started in real estate in addition to the attorney life?
Sure. Yes. As you made that introduction, I'm a full-time litigation attorney here in New York City. I became an attorney around year 2012, and around 2019, I was a full-time still litigation attorney, pulling many hours a week, and I really loved my job. It's rewarding profession, but I found myself constantly trading my time for money. And I had two daughters. Now they're teens, but they were growing up, and I see they request more time from me, right? They want to do things with me. They want to go out. So I was just questioning myself, like, constantly, is this a thing that I want to do for the rest of my life? And my conclusion was that it was not. So I was looking into other options, like, then what else can I do? And that's around when I stumbled upon the book, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad and Poor Dad. And I believe you guys over at that. And that book just was just like life-changing experience. Like, it was just turned my mindset upside down. So I realized I have to, from being a W-2 employee, or attorney could be self-employed as well, to business owner or investors, to live the lifestyle that you control. Right. So I started looking into different options to become investors first. I try to look into stocks or REITs and different things, but nothing really thrilled me until I got into a real estate, more so multifamily, by accident. I stumbled upon this website, biggerpockets.com, and I started reading through the articles and found these gurus in real estate. And so I started listening to their podcasts and watching the YouTube videos. First two people I started watching was Michael Blanks, and what's his name? Grant Cardone.
Mhm.
So, and what they said was, I don't know, to me, it just made so much sense. And so I started studying through half of 2019 and doing a self-education, consuming a lot of materials. Soon I realized I was just on a analysis paralysis period, right? Just keep studying and watching, but nothing really happening. So then I realized I got to take next level action. So I decided to join a mastermind, right? And which I did in February of 2020 with a goal of closing my first deal in 2020. And a pandemic happened, and I couldn't go out. But it was a disguised blessing for me because ports were closed, insurance companies were closed down. For the time being, I didn't really have to do work like we all did have to work. So I was able to solely focus on real estate and studying and networking through Zooms, etc. And by the end of 2020, I did my first deal. So in a nutshell, that's my real estate journey.
That's amazing and quite a journey. Even we'll obviously get to where you're at today, but when Bryan mentioned over 1,500 units and really you got into your first deal in 2020, it just turned into 2025. So that's a lot of progress in what is seen as a very, very short period of time.
Before you go further, maybe I want to make a little adjustment to it. I think it's a little over 1,200, probably not quite there at 1,500. So I want to make that
We're just
change.
foreshadowing the future because it'll be 1,500 soon.
I like that. But I ended up selling 3 properties last year, so there's some reduction to it, but still,
So
uh,
you
yeah,
have now
that's why.
gone full cycle. As you just mentioned, you sold 3 different properties in the last year. Can you talk us through? I know that there was a 44 unit property that you acquired. You have now gone full cycle, I believe, and correct us if we're wrong here. That was your first full cycle deal, was the 44 unit, correct?
Yes, that was my very first deal and then first full cycle.
Can you talk us through the overall acquisition process? Like, how were you feeling as you went into that first deal in 2020 and really the life cycle of that deal and what it felt like going full cycle as well?
Sure. So I recall we got that deal. We first heard about the deal in, I think, September of 2020, if not October. It was through one of my then partners in that deal because we sold it. One of my partners, and I'm still in a deal with him. So he's my partner. His friend from local. The deal is in Lawrence, Kansas, and we were told by my partner's friend that he knows an owner who wants to sell off his property and go bigger, right? So he owns 44 unit and other properties. So he kind of brought it to us, and we uh, underwrote the deal, and we really liked it. So we spoke to the owner, and owner liked us too. So we got it under contract. The owner said, "I want to sell this quick. So as long as we can close in 2020, I'll sell this to you." So we said, "Okay, no problem." So we got it under contract in, I think, October, and we did all the due diligence and finance and fiscal due diligence. Everything comes out, as a good deal. It was deferred maintenance. The owner was kind of mom and pop. I think he owned outright then, so he didn't really push for the rent as well. So it was below market rent. It was just cash flowing for him, so he was just keeping it. So all the numbers, his plans worked out, except that the property was really old. So the HVAC system was old, the roof was old. So we ended up asking him to fix those before the closing, but he said, "Oh, you know what? I would just give you some credit so that you can fix it later yourself." So we got $100,000 credit. Well, the negotiated purchase price was 1.7, $25 million. We bought it and then we got the $100,000 credit as well at the closing. So that's our purchase price. The deal was about $150 lower than the surrounding market, right, in terms of rent-wise. Our business plan at the time was raising the rent about $150 within a few years, and then do refinance and then keep it for infinite return or higher returns. So we did the execution of the business plan. Our rent in the beginning when we acquired it was about $500 a month per unit. And we were able to raise the rent $150 per rent in about a year and a half. And we applied for the refinance through different banks, and we got CBRE, and we were able to get on the agency lender for lower interest rate. And the appraisal came back, and the appraisal was actually higher than we thought. So we got quite a bit of equity there for the year and a half. And after getting the refi, we did 100% refi. And then we kept the property for the next like 2 years. It was cash flowing. At one point, we kind of stopped the distribution to build a reserve. That property we sold last year in August. And after paying off the debt and distributing all the funds, I calculated again, and it was a 3x plus deal overall
Wow.
return wise, including the cash flow. So yep, that property's gone, but we were able to like make a home run deal. It was like I call it what you call like a textbook deal, because I was able to do forced appreciation by raising the NOI. I was able to try 100% cash out refi, getting on the agency loan from recourse to non-recourse, right? And then we kept it for infinite return, cash and cash return, and we sold it for profit. So I think that was a home run deal.
That's incredible.
Absolute home run deal, if I would say so myself. No, amazing job. And I think one of the most important aspects of that deal, as you mentioned, getting started in 2020, was actually taking the step to get into your first deal, right? So this was your first deal, and you look back on that now, and you could probably take so much away from not only all the numbers and the returns and everything that you learned from it, but just the aspect of owning, operating, and putting in the work towards a property that you own and all the lessons that come from learning something like that. So could you highlight some of the biggest challenges or learning experiences that you took away from that property yourself that you would maybe do differently on your next deal, or some things that you really thought you guys did well, which sounds like you did a ton of things well on that deal that you would take going into a future deal?
I think the market also helped that around then it was still good buyer's market, right? Interest rate
Hmm.
was low compared to what it is now. But the biggest takeaway I could mention is having the right team, right? For that specific property, we had a good local partner, and he was diligent in going there, checking the properties, and making sure property management company is also working hard and the way we and follow our business plans, right? And we had a good asset management team looking over the expenses and getting on top of the property management companies, each time getting on a call together. So it was my first properties, and I was not really working as a full-time attorney back then for a while. So I was also able to be on top of things. Things got a little changed as time goes by. I started working full time again, and then I started acquiring more properties. So I started spending less amount of time as time goes by. But luckily and fortunately, we were able to place a system into it so that spending less time than before, still we were able to manage the property. So I think number one thing, you got to meet the great partners, right? I think the team is what's important. The most important thing is meeting a good team and making sure everyone is on top of what they are assigned to do, right? And what they're good at, and then quickly build up the system and then be on top of property management company, right? Some people don't like third-party property management companies. They go up, they're always talk about self-management. I see both sides. We did self-management as well. We used third-party property management company. I think there still is a good third-party property management companies, but I guess it's hard to find the good ones, right?
Mhm.
So you just have to keep trying. But if you start building a enough portfolio in a one location, I think it's and then you have a bandwidth to do that. I think self-management is also the next way to go.
That's amazing. And what fascinates me as well, Yosef, is that you went from reading a book, going on to Bigger Pockets. You skipped what most people would almost view as the traditional way to acquire, which is a single family property that you may then rent out. And you went directly into your first deal of 44 units. Was there a reason why you went straight into one of the bigger properties and bypassing what most people would view as the traditional way to build that. And what was your mindset going into that? Especially, I'm in a similar situation as well where I have bypassed that, but would love to hear your views on that too.
Yes, I got this question a lot in the beginning, like why how come you went after 40 plus units as a first deal, right? Um, I think what mattered to me at the time was probably I didn't really know much back then, so my mind was wide open to everything. And the first two people I started listening to was Grant Cardone and Michael Blanks, who constantly preaches don't even go big, right? Always says go big, don't even bother looking below 20 something units or 36 units. I think that's probably why I listened to that first, and I had already predisposition of okay, this is possible, and if these gurus are telling me that this is doable, why not? So I guess, in other words, having an open mind to the possibilities was, I think, the number one factor. How I was able to go after that, because if you list, let's say, if your first guru or mentor or someone next to you shows you about first as a first deal, like a flipping, a single family, duplex, probably your mind will be anchored there. Like, oh, okay, so this is how people start. I guess that's what's important. You're whatever you're pre-exposed to, that that sets your first expectation, and that's what happened to me. And it happened to be the big multifamily over 30. I think he mentioned 36 unit. He's like, don't even bother looking below 36. So I was always looking like at least bigger than 10 units. So that was one thing. And two, after listening to how it's being acquired, to me it sounds just as doable. And third, I think my idea was okay, to me, single family or duplex, like a residential side property, investment, it's just a different animal, right? So to me, okay, if I go after the first single family duplex, I'll probably feel like it's probably within my comfort level and comfort zone. But I have to learn again how to do multifamily anyway. So I think I use the analogy of hunting. So it's like you have fox hunting and bear hunting, different method, and it's just totally two different animals. If you do fox hunting to learn bear hunting, it will give you peace of mind that, oh, I at least tried hunting. But it's totally different. You're gonna have to learn again. So why not just go after bear hunting if your gut allows, right? So that was my mindset at the time.
I like that. No limiting beliefs on where to start, and might as well just learn it the big way to start as well, which is awesome. And obviously it's worked out for you. That brings my mind to, all three of us still currently work a W-2 job. You're still an attorney. So advice would you give people that are looking to invest in real estate today or looking to potentially get into real estate to some capacity who are working that, W-2 job now? So a lot of our listeners are probably successful professionals, right? Whether in sales or some type of W-2 job today, they're making a high income, they're interested in real estate, they're listening to the podcast, but they don't know where to start. They don't know where to get, you mentioned the importance of partnerships, which I think goes a long way, right? Starting to build those partnerships, those networks, and understanding what those investors are getting into and how to get into potential deals. But what would your advice be for, someone starting out like you were in 2020 or like Chris and I were looking to explore real estate avenues and options to that, W-2 employee today that's still working?
I think first thing first, you probably need to sit down and understand what you want to do. Like, do you want to go into real estate investing as your main uh like active job? Like, you want to become like an active real estate investor, or you want to keep your W-2 job and make money and then invest that money passively, right? In the ultimate, if your ultimate goal is just to create passive income, and you like what you do, you could just continue to do that. Like, make money and just invest. You just need to find a good team of general partners, the syndication team and operators, permanent investors. You find good investors who are actively acquiring and managing the deals and partner with them and become limited partner. And
Mhm.
you could just entertain the fruits of the deal, like as passive income, and then you just continuously work, right? And as you're doing that, you could constantly like see if this is something that you want to do as like your active side, right? If you want to become an active real estate investor, then as you're keeping your W-2 job, just start studying, right? Educating yourself and just try to learn what's behind the scene, how the general partners are operating the deals, and if that's what you really want to do. For example, as far when it comes to asset management, I learned it's really hard, especially uh, the when you have to go through the line items of expenses and then making sure what is this amount? Okay, that's why. What is $18 from? What is Amazon $40? I'm like, to me, I it's not me. Like I was doing it in the beginning because I had to, but then after doing this for quite a bit while, I'm like, you know what? This is not me. It's part of asset management, but not me. Maybe I could have someone else to do this, and I could
Mhm.
focus on what I like to do. So you get to learn what you like and what you don't like as you're doing this. Luckily, I had partners who's good at reviewing all these expenses. Then, as a team, that's how you can operate a property well. You don't have to be a Superman doing everything yourself. So but still keeping the W-2, I recommend you go through this process of exposing yourself to little by little to active side. How you do that, just you can build your relationship with the general partners or the operators as being an LP to their deals, and then slowly expose yourself and watch how they do. You can ask them, hey, can you get me involved on one or two tasks to see if this is good for me? I want to try to raise a capital for you. Anything like that, you could come in handy, right? And then see if you really like it. I see some people really like it, so in a few years they slowly move themselves into the general partnership side, prepare to quit their W-2, and then come to the active side of real estate investing and become full-time real estate investor. I saw some people who tasted how it is to become an operator of the real estate investing, and they didn't really like it, so they ended up just still keeping their W-2 job, make money, and just invest. Many doctors are like that. They
Yep.
consider their job to be really rewarding, and they would never give up being a doctor for that. So, they will continue to be a doctor, practice, and care of the patients and make money and then just passively invest. I've seen a lot of them. And I also saw somebody who quit their job, became the full-time real estate investor, and after a couple of years, they just went back and found back to their W-2 job,
Yep.
saying, you know what? I mean, it's not as like fantastic as they thought it would be. So they came back to their job and they started just doing a passive investing. The bottom line is you need to take action and experience how it is like, and then decide, right? You can't just think about it and read and then decide. It's just, you got to do it.
I think you raise a lot of really interesting elements there, Yosef, around number one, the teamwork that ultimately goes into one of these larger multifamily properties, right? There isn't just one single person that's involved, there's multiple different assets and avenues that people ultimately need to partner together in order to make these successful. You mentioned earlier as well property management, sometimes that's third party, sometimes that in house, asset management, capital allocators, right? So there is a large group of people that go into that. How did you identify, or what ways did you network with individuals in order to achieve that side of things? That would almost be my first question around.
If I understand your question correctly, like how to network, is that to
Yeah,
find the
how
right
did you?
partners?
Yeah, exactly. Because again, not everybody is going to be the right fit for you, and that's okay, right? There's different people that people want to do business with. There's different people that people are friends with. So how did you ultimately identify
Mhm.
your great team that you were able to go full cycle with this 44 unit on as your first property? Like, how did you network? How did you find those people? And what tips would
Right.
you give people that were in your shoes that are now trying
Mhm.
to either, whether it's active or a passive investment? How did you go around doing that networking? Because you're a great networker, Yosef, right? Like your
Mhm.
face is everywhere on my socials. Everybody in the space knows who you are. So you've got a really, really great way of networking. So how would you give people the tips for that?
So I'll explain how I network in the beginning, and then how I changed the approach after a couple of networks. So in the beginning, I was so excited, right? At the time, I was so excited to be able that I'm being a real estate investor. Whenever I reached out to people and doing the networking calls like this on a Zoom call, I would introduce myself. I would always ask like, "What can I do for you? Like, tell me, and I'll do everything to find that partner, right?" But each time I didn't realize that by asking them to let me know what they want me to do, I'm actually giving them a job of trying to figure it out. Like how, they should now they have to figure it out like what I'm good at. They got to ask me more questions. So it was giving more job to them. I realized that was not a good right approach. So later, what I did was I sat down and I tried to see how a good multifamily syndication team is comprised of, right? So I realized, okay, there's a boots on the ground partner, there's a underwriter, there's a deal sourcer, there's a then somebody who has an experience to oversee the whole process, a KP who could back up with the net worth, right? Investor relationships. There are like a 7, 8 roles that you could kind of count. And then, I started writing down like what kind of role can I take up, right? So I was in New York and I was trying to invest in out of state. So I cannot be the boots on the ground, right? That role was gone. And can I underwrite the deal? Maybe. So yeah, that's what I'm learning. So I left it. And can I raise capital? Maybe. I left it there. Can I be the one who could oversee the entire deal with an experience? No, because I never done a deal before, right? So that role is gone. Can I do investor relationships? Maybe not, because I don't have any investors. And
No
can you be the
experience.
KP? Yeah, can you be the KP? No, I don't have that huge net worth of millions and millions. I couldn't. So, well, realistically, if you're a starter, the only position that you could probably start with is if you're in the local area, boots on the ground. And I consider that to be the best role, right? And like myself, if you're not in local area, then maybe just two things: underwriting, maybe finding the deal, maybe raising the capital if you're from New York or California, the capital market. So understanding your position first is, I think, the most important thing. Now you know what type of partnership you're going to have to find to find that missing pieces to create the team, right? So knowing that, my approach was changed. Before, I just reached out. I asked everybody what I can do for them without really knowing what I can do for them. Now I know what kind of role I can do. So I started just telling everybody, this is me, this is what I can do, and I'm looking for this type of partnership. And it doesn't really matter it didn't really matter at the time whether that person that I am currently networking with was the one who could be the missing pieces or not. If they're not, then I'll ask them, like, can you connect me to someone you can think of who could be a good partner? And they will connect. They will nice. If you ask for networking opportunities, they will always try to connect you, right? One thing I was surprised was in this multifamily field, everybody was really nice. They were eager to help you. They were eager to connect you to right partnerships. And if it doesn't work out, then you can always ask for more their other network, right? So that was what I did. And another thing I did was I did 2 tiers of networking. One, at the time, my market was Tennessee. So I purposefully networked with people who are in the Tennessee market, who are interested in Tennessee market. And also I did the different tiers of networking as more general. Tennessee was more targeted networking, but I also did general networking with whoever, right? Whoever want to network, let's connect. And with them, it didn't really matter what market they were in. This is me getting connected to people in the field. So I did a lot of networking in 2020. Before I did my first deal, I counted and stopped counting after 200 calls. I was like every day, 2, 3 calls a day, constantly reaching out. I reached out like a cold call. I reached out friends of friends and just to get on the call and just introduce myself.
That's awesome. And that's super powerful. I mean, today's day and age, I think that no one really has an excuse not to network, right? With social media platforms, with LinkedIn, with the ability to find people's profiles online or just find people's interest. I think LinkedIn now has become such a platform for professionals, B2 professionals, but also real estate professionals that are on these different platforms that you can reach out to or even filter and source. And I think it's a great way to continue to network and build, your relationships and the people that you're speaking with. And it's a powerful way. The three of us we had mentioned, we were part of mastermind groups, which I think can be a great avenue to get involved into some of these networks with people that are in it, doing high network individuals, doing deals, but they can come with a cost and a high cost at some of those, right? So that's a great way to go, to pay an entry fee to potentially get into some of these networks. But if you don't have the means to necessarily join a mastermind group, what are some of the other educational ways that you can start to educate yourself on the real estate world, right? Commercial real estate is a little bit different than residential. You talked about underwriting. You talked about, reading or finding things online. What are some of those educational platforms or avenues that people can go to start that journey for themselves, to start learning about this stuff?
To be frank, I think YouTube is a great source. You just
YouTube
punch
is.
in, well, it will bring up like 20 different videos about the topic that's recorded by there's real estate professionals.
Mhm.
Right? They're always trying to record, like yourself, Brian and Chris. This video will be uploaded somewhere in the YouTube or podcast, and they can listen to it. They're exposed to enormous amount of resources in terms of education wise. So if you just talk about education, a YouTube video is a great tool. Go to biggerpockets.com and reaching out, just call like, my name is so and so. I'm just joining as a newbie of real estate investing or multifamily investing. I see you're really active in the field. Can you spare me like 15 minutes that I can ask you questions or any tips? I think probably 9 out of 10 will gladly spend 15 minutes or even more than that with you to kind of guide you through to to the real estate investing. Like genuinely, I met so many nice people and amazing people who gladly did that for me. So I'll recommend definitely reach out to people.
And Yosef, you also started your own networking group here in New York. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? That's actually the first time I met you in person, was at one of your networking events. So do you want to just kind of let everyone know, anyone who is ultimately in the New York area, how they can find that, how they can be involved in that, and how you started that?
Sure. So during the pandemic, again, when still we're not able to go out, I wanted to have like a platform where people can gather, right? So me and my virtual meetup partner, Nico, we started virtual meetup. So just like this, we're opening to public. So we'll have like anywhere from like 10, sometimes 5, sometimes 20. And it grew and grew. And we were starting having 30, 40, 50 people. And when finally the pandemic shutdown was being lifted, I thought to myself, like, you know what? How about if there are people, and then there were some people from New York too on that virtual meetup. And then we're discussing like, oh, you guys want to have dinner, finally meeting in person. So we started meeting together like for dinner, a couple of people. And then it kind of grew. And then I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I could try to throw in like in-person meetup with more bigger to accommodate bigger population. And I think the first meetup did like 20 something, 30 something. So depends on the availability, people are coming. And I realized there are quite a bit of people who are interested in not just real estate, but multifamily in New York City. So each year I do a couple of small dinner gatherings, like, whatever, from 10, 15, 20 people. But what I tried to do one big meetup. The first one I had about 60 people, and then like 75, and then I did like 90 people. So those are really, really great because I'm literally seeing how people are networking, right? I like to network with people, but I realized by hosting a lot that I also love to host and see how people are being connected, right? So both are really joy to me. So it grew like that. So now uh I try to do like a dinners a couple times a year. The last one we did was in December, in Brooklyn. About 20 people came, and we will probably do a couple more dinners in this year and big ones, probably March or May ish, like once probably other every other month. So if you're in local area, New York City and Long Island or New Jersey, reach out to me through my social media and Facebook and Instagram. Can I mention my social media handle here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
now? Yeah,
Please
yeah, sure.
do.
So it's easy. My handle is Yosef Brosen. So YosefYourBrosef. So both Facebook and Instagram, and DM me. You can find me on LinkedIn using same handle as well. DM me. I'll let you know when we're meeting and we can meet in person and share our stories.
Hell yeah. I always remember Yosef Brosef. You not only network well, but you brand yourself well as well. People won't forget it. No, that's awesome. And I appreciate you sharing because I was going to say we're going to share all your social handles and stuff in the show notes and at the end of the podcast, but you did it. So that's awesome. So you shared incredible stuff today, and you've obviously been on an incredible journey the past 5 years from just being an attorney to now not only an attorney, but a full scaled real estate professional that's doing a lot of really great things with all the projects that you're involved in. What are your goals for 2025, a couple years ahead? Like what are your focuses going to be as you continue to scale your real estate portfolio moving forward?
So starting from 2023, I started looking into different types of assets, right? Small business. So I partnered up with another operating partner and we bought this little cafe bakery nearby my office in
In
2020,
Queens,
summer
right?
2023 in Queens. Right. So it's up and running well. It's been there for 30 years, 30 plus years. I knew this location already because it's been there forever, right? So we bought it, and it was quite an experience doing the buying process. And I think I would probably look into acquiring more small businesses in the future and kind of diversifying different sectors of real estate. I've been focusing on multifamily because I believed in that category. Now I'm going into small properties, like a 3 units with another partner in Pennsylvania
Mhm.
and trying to look into like an industrial flex spaces as well. I think kind of establishing in multifamily sector kind of gives me a confidence to look into other assets. Before I was just focusing on multifamily. Now my eyes are kind of opened up to different sectors and
Mhm.
small businesses like a laundromat. I was looking at laundromat businesses and mixed unit buildings where the first floor is a laundromat and then second and third floor like residential type of small mixed unit buildings. So those are the sectors where I'm going to be branching out. But where I'm going with this is as I'm doing more of this business acquisitions and more property acquisitions, I see myself becoming more of like a micro private equity
Mhm.
kind of myself. So, and I'm learning this concept of family office. So my goal is to turn myself and my family into a family office where it functions like a private equity and kind of wealth management and acquiring and managing those assets. And I want to help other families who are coming into this to develop their own family offices, like micro family office. I'm not talking about like mega like old money, huge family offices. But I think there are enough pool of niche people who are like first generation, making lots of money and trying to, through the right way, pass down this wealth to their next generation. I see many, I met many people like that. So I want to help them to like do it the right way. So I'm now studying more estate law and like a tax saving part as well. I'm trying to study more finance side and see where it goes. Just having fun throughout the process. That's what I'm enjoying.
I love that.
The whole point I think of a lot of this is the diversification, right? Like none of this is really there to be a get rich quick scheme or anything like that. It's really just to gradually increase what could be passive income for yourself, for your family, to free up time. You mentioned that right at the beginning. Your daughters were getting older. They were demanding more time from you. You wanted to be able to give them that time. And now you're looking at how do you ultimately set your family up for success for generations to come, and ultimately other families with that in mind as well. And I think it's important for everyone listening to this that, yeah, multifamily isn't the only investment vehicle. There are the traditional ways, stocks, mutual funds, right, 401ks that most of us, but there are also small businesses, laundromats, car washes that many people invest in as well. So it's really just finding something that you believe is a good investment, identifying whether you want cash flow, whether you want equity growth, and really having those conversations with people like us or other people that you know that are in these spaces, and seeing what is the right fit for you. Because what that is today could look very, very different in 6 months, in 2 years, in 5 years' time, as to where your appetite for investing is. And it's really just about providing your family and yourself ultimately more time and a better life. Yosef, any final closing comments? This has been an incredible episode. You've shared a ton of really, really useful information about real estate, just about general networking that I think people will be able to take a lot of, whether it's real estate related networking or just networking in general for their W-2 or any business that they're in. Any final closing comments from you?
I'd always say, education is one thing, right? But networking is more important, and what's more important even then is taking action, right? You need to do things to make things happen.
Mhm.
If you don't do anything, nothing's gonna happen, right? And then just perseverance, right? You just wait, you keep doing it. If you believe in your direction, if you believe in your working hard, then keep doing it. Because I see now, I've been in this for like over close to 5 years ish. Then I kind of see the cycle now. Before I was not able to see. I learned it, but I was not able to physically feel it. But now I do. Like people say 7 years or 8 years to 10 years ish cycle, it comes and goes, right? Of up market, top market, down market during a recession. I kind of feel it now. But some people who joined like a year before this down cycle uh did not really experience the like up market. They give up, right? As soon as they hit like a year, 2 years later, they hit this down cycle and market, they gave up. So out of the people that I network with, like at that time they were very active 5 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, I only see probably 30-40% max. Like I don't really see other people like being inactive at all. So I think perseverance is probably what I should value now. Like before, it was more about going out, doing things, and meeting people. But now, if you're doing that, just keep going, right? Because it will come back. The cycle comes back.
You heard the man, right? Take action and stay consistent. I think that is a very important message that you're sharing, and you're living through it. You've seen it, and you're continuing to see it and diversify your portfolio and your investments and kind of the strategies that you're doing. But you see what the fruits of your consistency have done for you, and the growth, right? You've probably know 1,000 times more today than you did in 2019 when you picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad to read for the first time and trying to understand what a rental property was. Yosef, I want to thank you for joining our podcast today. Like Chris mentioned, you provided a ton of amazing content and educational information. So everyone, feel free to reach out to Yosef. He's an amazing connection and person to know in the industry. So I know you shared your stuff in your socials earlier, but we'll share that stuff in the show notes to follow as well. And again, just want to thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Yosef.
Thank you for tuning in to the Peak Profits Podcast. We hope today's episode was not only inspiring, but packed with actionable insights for your passive real estate investments. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a review. Your feedback fuels our passion to bring you even more valuable content. Stay connected with us on social media and visit 7peakcapital.com for exclusive resources and updates. Until next time, keep striving towards your financial goals, and let's reach new peaks together.